Hello, David Pearson back with you. I do apologise. Good old technical difficulties will be blamed. I'll just wait here to see if anyone joins me. Got a bit of a problem there. And now I've lost the phone. Great news. Oh, there it is. Sorry for the difficulties. I'm glad you've rejoined me. Thank you very much. So a bit behind schedule already. But here we are in sunny York. And let's see if we can get the show started. So, it's very bright here, you know. It doesn't help. Well, I'm going to give you a nice view now. So you can see the Minster in the background. And you can see what is Bootham Bar in the foreground. And the Sightseeing York bus. And where we're starting is, you can see up there, we're at York Art Gallery, just outside, which is obviously still shut at the moment. And here, there is a statue of an artist. And this is William Etty. Now, he was an English artist best known for his history paintings containing nude figures. He was the first significant British painter of nudes and still lifes. A model of the bar, if you look here, before I fall in the water, that's a model of the bar which is opposite us, Bootham Bar, which is on his statue. And the reason for that is because he campaigned to protect the walls and bars. This statue was erected in 1911. Right, we'll carry on and we'll head towards Bootham Bar. Now, as you can see, there is Bootham Bar in front of us. Now, it's quite a busy road junction here, so I'm going to stay this side of the road for a bit, just so you can see the bar. And if you look right at the top, you'll see three statues. I believe these were replaced statues in Victorian times. Now, at the bottom of the bar you can see a Norman arch about 900 years old, and then above it is a medieval fort with its cross-shaped slips for arrows to be shot from at the top. Now, not all these slits that you see in these bars or in the walls are originals, and some of them you couldn't fire an arrow through because they're too slim. Now, there's also the remains of a Roman gateway here under the ground of this bar. So we'll just go and have a look inside if we can get across here without getting run over. This should be interesting. I haven't timed that very well. So we'll go and have a look under the Norman Arch. See the Minster peeking through the back there? Well, York has certainly got busier gradually through this week, which is quite nice to see. It's not been too busy. And here we go, we're going to have a look under the Norman Arch here. So this is how you'd enter the city. If you look up, I don't know if you can see up there, there's a portcullis. And this portcullis, I don't think, has been down at all for a long time. I'll just march a bit down the street. This is Petergate, which leads to the Minster at the end, but we're not going to the Minster, but we will see it, don't worry. And there it's the bar from the other side. Again, some arrow slits and also some wider windows, sort of the second setup. And these bars, through the years, have actually been used as accommodation, have been used as a prison, so for various purposes, but originally obviously built to defend the city. And now we're going to walk up and start the walk. Now, interesting, coronavirus has even affected the wall. I only say that because anyone who comes in here is supposed to only walk it in a clockwise direction at the moment, so we can maintain social distancing. Right, we're going to go into a room now. I'm going to put my mask on, and if it goes a bit dark, apologies. Well, it's not too bad, is it? So here we are in Bootham Bar, and there's the rest of the portcullis. Now, these are the windows you can see from outside. As you say, this is for the archers. And there's some higher up, as you see, wider windows. But if you look through here, this is the view down where we've just been, Petergate Street, which, as I said, goes past the pub on the left, the hole in the wall, and then up to York Minster. So we're now going to start the wall walk, but this is pretty much Victorian built, this section, built on the originals. And these are on an earth rampart below. And as you see, the back of the pub here, everybody enjoying themselves. And over here, you have a great view of the Minster. Nice to see people out and about. Now we'll see the Minster again in a bit. I'll just show you some of the... So we're up on earth foundations with the walls built on top. So, as promised, we're walking along York City walls. So here we have a very good look at the Minster. Isn't it glorious? So this is actually, full name is the Cathedral and Metropolitical Church of St Peter in York, commonly known as York Minster, and it's the Cathedral of York, England, and is one of the largest of its kind in Northern Europe. The Minster is the seat of the Archbishop of York, the third highest office of the Church of England. The Minster is the second largest Gothic cathedral of Northern Europe and charts the development of English Gothic architecture from early English through to the Perpendicular period. Now here's something for you. The present building was begun in about 1220 and completed in 1472. And if you work that out, that's 252 years it took to build the whole of the Minster. The stone used for the building is magnesium limestone, a creamy white coloured rock that was quarried in nearby Tadcaster. The Minster is 524 feet long and the central tower has a height of 235 feet. The two west towers of the Minster hold bells, clock chimes and a concert carillon. And there's an ongoing restoration piece of work. If you go right the other side of the Minster, you'll see the stonemasons working on replacement stones for the Minster. So we'll carry on. Oh, there's the gardens as well, look. Nice to see. So we'll carry on along the wall, this section. And what you get along the wall is sections of the wall, and then you'll get these bars, as they call them, at different points, and we'll see a number of those as we go along today. Now I believe this little section here is called, where we're going to just stop briefly, is Robin Hood's Tower, it's called. Nothing to do with Robin Hood apparently, but it is Victorian built, and they quite like that tale, I believe, of Robin Hood. As we know, Robin Hood is named throughout the country in various places, but they like that sort of folklore, and this, as you see, is apparently Victorian built. And here we have the Dean's Garden. What a nice garden to have, eh? So the Dean looks after the everyday sort of activities at the Minster. Beautiful tree here as well, look. So this was Robin Hood's Tower. Here you can see some of the houses backing onto the wall. We've even got a bit of wildlife, squirrel running down there. And again we get another nice view of the Minster from here. I'll just get to another Victorian built. As you see, they put these slits in, but they're purely decorative. These are not proper slits for arrows. Purely Victorian decorative stonework. Now there is the Minster. So carry on past the Dean's Garden, all of this. Right for some. So that's Ribblin Stone. Hope you can all hear me okay, and I hope the pictures are all okay. Please let me know if they're not. And down here, whoa, a host of daffodils, as they say. How gorgeous is that? So, how's that for a garden? So we come to this corner tower here, some people on it. Just have a walk up. Hiya. It's one of the main entrances into York. And here we have a view of York Minster. So that is the Dean's Garden. I'm walking back on the wall where we've just walked and see the arches below. And a view of some of the other buildings of York. That's part of the university over the road. Now, for those of you that weren't here at the start, I'm David. Thank you for joining this walk. I had a few technical difficulties at the start, but got there in the end. I just enjoy sharing lovely scenery, architecture, natural, whatever, with people. And here's more of the garden. Isn't it beautiful? And of course with the Minster in the background. You get some great views along this part of the wall. Hope you won't be disappointed later. Nice places to have a sit. We will carry on, we'll press on. And so we've gone past the Dean's garden. And then we carry on, and a bit further up we'll come to another garden which backs onto the wall. And this is the garden of Gray's Court, which is a hotel. And the good thing about this hotel, it's got a lovely garden at the back, and it welcomes non-residents into their garden for drinks, teas and light lunches. Although I believe they're only doing teas at the moment, drinks at the moment. There it is, look. And there's nobody in it. Oh, there is a few people, sorry. So this is Gray's Court, which is well worth a little visit because you get these steps. Sorry. Carry on. That go down to the gardens. I think that was a member of staff there in the gate. And you can go down and socially distance and enjoy a nice drink. And look what you've got over there, look. Bit pricey, but then everything is in York. Well worth a visit. Now in the 1880s, the owner of this garden and the Dean, that's the wall we've just walked past, reluctantly gave up what they saw as their bits of the walls and a bit of their privacy, as we can see, to complete the trail of the walls around the city. And there's actually a plaque here that sort of commemorates that. This tablet was placed here by the Council of the City of York, October 1898, to record that this portion of the wall, 37 something yards, 1 inch, was in the year 1889 restored to the city by Edwin Gray, who served the office of Lord Mayor in 1898. So he gave up this little bit of wall, well, this section of wall, and then became mayor. Isn't that strange? In 1898. But it is worth a bit. It's very nice, particularly when the sun's out, obviously, and still a great view of the Minster. A bit further up, there should be a plaque on the wall. I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss it. Oh, on the floor even. And this indicates, here it is. So this says Gateway to Roman Fortress. So we're now with the Romans. And for the whole of this north corner of the trail, we are walking along the line of the walls of the Roman legionary fort of Eboracum. Eboracum? That's why we basically walked a right angle from the Dean's house and then along this wall, pretty much a 90-degree turn. So we started at Eboracum's northwest gate. That helmet marked the site of the northeast gate. So here we have the next bar, as you can see. Notice how it's quite high, look, this one. And if you look at the figures at the top, number one, you'll see arrow slits going up the side. But also these men at the top, look, stone men, and they're throwing boulders down. So this is Monkgate. Here we have the Keystones pub on the left, and we now of course need to walk down our one-way system during COVID times. I'm sorry if they're freezing, they're not freezing my end, but it might be just the signal. Apologies. So this bar is probably mostly 700 years old. And there's a blocked doorway here, I believe. From the times when traders would be stopped as they went through these bars and made to pay moorage, which was a tax on goods being brought into York for sale, a tax which went to pay for the walls and their upkeep. And here you can see at the top spikes of another portcullis. It said that the last time they actually tried to use this portcullis was in 1953 to celebrate the crowning of the Queen. Because closing a medieval gate might be thought a slightly odd form of celebration, but in any case it was not crowned with much success. It is said that a few weeks after the coronation, local papers noted that it took 10 minutes to get it down, but 2 weeks to get it up again. So those are the doors there, look. Just pull right back so you get a full look at the bar. So this is Monk Bar. The balcony just above the arch, which is just up there, is thought to have been one of the places used for public proclamations. So that's Monk Bar. I'll just wait a little bit. Some children have just gone up. Oh, here's the blocked doorway from the outside, where you used to have to pay your moorage. Right, we'll now go up some steps. I hope I'm not freezing too much. We're now on the east corner of the wall. There's a tall chimney ahead of us, which I'll tell you about later. Now these are what I call musket loops for firing your muskets out of. So different time period, but still defending the city, particularly during the English Civil War. And that'll be a kneeling man aiming out of there with their muskets. Some new properties on the right. Now, here below us is a Georgian ice house. So that was the Georgian equivalent, I guess, of your freezer. And it's cut into the outer ramparts below. And that's the back of the pub that we just saw. And now if you look along here ahead of us, not the newer houses but the one in the middle, the building, that's the Merchant Taylor's Hall, and it's a medieval building. And then in front of it, which I'll show you a bit better in a minute, it's where archaeologists have cut into the inner ramparts and have left exposed a corner of the Roman legionary fort. So let's go and have a look at that. So we'll just have a slight malfunction on the microphone, which we'll just fix. Sorry about this. It's a problem doing it on your own. Right, down here. So this is part of the original Roman fort that was on this site. And there's the medieval hall. Here it is. So, we're going through the time periods gradually. Now these little turrets here up on the left, yes, it's Victorian built, because the Victorian, they used to love their walking and parading, and they did a lot of renovations on the walls during the Victorian period. Someone could just let me know how the picture is now. That would be great. Quite a long stretch here, and then we come up here to this, might not seem interesting initially, But here we have a 3-storey car park. But the story is it's actually built on the site of York's medieval Jewish cemetery. The area is still called Dewbury, but it was long uncared for, as all Jews were expelled from England 700 years ago. The skeletons were removed to a Jewish mortuary, but then returned to Dewbury for a burial supervised by the chief rabbi in 1984, 7 centuries after they were first buried. So that's the story of, and it's recognised here with a sign on the floor, Dewbury, with the Star of David. Quite respectful. It just shows how the Jews had to move around as they were thrown out of different countries. So we then come to this tower here, which then turns left and takes us on a journey towards this end, to the end of this part of the wall. It's very nice gardens here again. This is a little hidden garden, and we're just coming up here to the end of this stretch of the wall. And this corner here was once part of a large marshy lake that neither the walls nor attackers could easily cross, because we're also coming up to the River Foss. Now this section at the end will be a bit noisy because it's quite a noisy and busy road junction. But once we get the other side, we'll be by the river for a short period before we then rejoin the wall at the Red Tower. And how's that for a view back? Quite stunning. Here's more of these firing muskets. So we're going to find the geese now over by the river. As we exit on our clockwise trip around the wall, due to coronavirus restrictions, humans can now only walk clockwise. Well, around the wall. That is. This is where we look right. Oh, it's on green, I can walk. It's good. Right. So apologies for this section, it's just a bit busy, probably a bit noisy. Oh, we're getting straight across though, which is good. And then we'll come to the River Foss. Oh, we've got to wait at this section. No, we're okay. We're over. Right. Let's just stop here for a little view down the river. So, River Foss. Again, it might be a bit noisy as I walk along here, as the road is on the left. Now, this section was made into a great lake by William the Conqueror around 1068, when he ordered it to be dammed to create a moat around his castle half a kilometre downstream. You can see the water today, it's quite muddy. and there's this bridge across which I believe takes you to a nature reserve. Well, I say it does, it used to, because it now seems to be locked up. This is a shame. So this was all water around here, basically. Here's this chimney again, which I believe is called the Destroyer. Built sort of early 1900s, I think, and it was encouraged for people to bring their rubbish to be burnt there, and then it produced some heat energy which they used. First form of environmental energy, maybe, I don't know. So here's some of the geese. It's not too much further to the next section of the wall. But barges obviously used to travel along here when the Victorians were about. And down here on the right, down the river, in the distance a little bit, there's a red brick Victorian warehouse. Well, it used to be a warehouse. I believe it's now offices and homes. But barges travelled on the Fars and loaded there. Most recently for Rowntree's Sweet Factory. So it's called Rowntree Wharf. Mainly water birds, as we can see, that are going up and down the river these days, not barges. So it's actually a Victorian waste incinerator, that chimney. Right, so just down there, that's where the warehouse is. You see in the distance there. But we're almost, I promise, at the next section of the wall. Oh great, now we've got a big lorry in the way. So the King's Fish Pool, as it then was, which covered this area, didn't only provide bream and pike to eat, it also provided waterfowl, like the ones we saw. People were actually paid to take their waste to that area where the tower was for burning. That's how much things have changed. They paid you. Right, so it's just up here on the right is the Red Tower. So basically there wasn't any wall on this section because of the large man-made lake by William the Conqueror, and it wasn't needed to protect the city, because that's what the wall was all about. It was all about protecting the city and the citizens. So here's the Red Tower, which, as you'll see, looks very, very different to the bars we've seen before. So it was built of brick at the end of the Middle Ages when money was short in York, and the corporation wanted to save money using cheaper materials. Looks like a little house basically. Built in 1500 and is the only one to be built of this red brick rather than the large blocks. This tower actually suffered quite badly in the siege of 1644 and has undergone many restorations since that period. And it's having some restoration done now by the look of it. Not open at the moment, so it's more of a watchtower really. Now interestingly, this part of the wall doesn't have guardrails, so I need to look where I'm going. So we're definitely in a more sort of urbanised area of York as we walk along here. I still have some good tales to tell about the bar that we'll come to at the end of the walk today. So don't leave me, because you'll miss out. So we have a lot of housing on the right and lots of modern facilities over here. But how lovely to be out walking along the wall, following a small group ahead of me. Now I think yeah, over to the right, just over here through the trees, you can see a medieval towered church, and that's St Margaret's. So again, you can see, you know, that's why the walls were here basically, protecting the city, its people. There's the church. See if I can zoom in a bit for you. Okay. So we continue along this stretch of the wall. I'm actually heading to Walmgate Bar, I believe. Now here we have the only bit of railing just to stop you going straight on and walking off the wall. Now, not sure if you can see, but if you look ahead where those people are walking, you'll see under where they walk now, there's actually steps below them going down to the grass, which I believe were probably that used in Victorian times, so you could walk off and go onto the grass for a bit. But now you just walk straight on, and there's actually steps over it which we'll go over, you'll see. we come up to it. Curious. And so we've got a really nice old wall here, look, and what did they build next to it? Yes, extremely modern bits, wooden, metal style brick apartments. Very nice if you own one, I guess. So we're just coming up to this part of the wall, look, where these steps were. You can see them. Just hang over, look. See the steps down there? Yeah. Used to allow you to get down to the grass and back up, but not now. Now they stop us. Right, we're coming up now to next section. So this bar, Walmgate Bar, has its medieval barbican still, which is the bit, if you wonder what bit that is, I'll try and explain it best as I can. So we'll walk down to it. Now, this is fairly interesting. Just need to cross the road. People here. Thank you. Snip across. So here we have our next bar. Sorry. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is the entrance to the Walmgate Bar. As I said, this is the Barbican bit here. So you've got the entrance in, or out if you like. Wooden gates. There's a small door in there, so they would shut the doors and then they just have a small door for people coming in and out. We then come to, guess what? It's got its portcullis up there, and this is the Barbican. This part is the Barbican here that leads out, which the other bars haven't got. They've just got this section here. Now, this is quite a history in terms of the Civil War, because there was a mine dug beneath this Barbican to try and destroy it. So in 1644 a mine was set, and you see these cracks here. They say these are a result of the mine that went off underneath the Barbican, the side of the wall as well. Interesting, they're both the same position along the wall. Now if we just look outside, and this is a bit dangerous because there's traffic passing along here, but here, look, is what they believe is the result of a cannonball fire fired at the Barbican, and around it smaller holes which they say is the result of musket balls. If we go forward a bit, I can't really show you too, but on the turret as well, towards the bottom of it, there's small holes which they say is probably the result of musket balls. Now if you can imagine, there'd be soldiers standing along here. This gate would of course be shut, and imagine you're trying to get in here, and basically there'd be soldiers either side of you at the top throwing things down at you, and then you'd have the portcullis down here and you're trying to get in, and that's why this part here was called the killing ground. So the last time that the walls were attacked was also the only time that York has been besieged with armies circling the city. And as I say, that was in the 1644 during the English Civil War between forces loyal to the king and those supporting the Parliament, which wanted to limit the king's powers. So, quite an interesting bar, that one. These pillars as well. Just stand back a bit so you get a good view. More people getting up on the wall there. I think there's a nice little is it this one? I believe it's track. There might be a little coffee place in this one, but it isn't open at the moment. I'll just wait for these people to go up on the wall. Oh, they're not going up the wall, so I will. So we'll continue on our way from One Gate Bar. I do hope you're enjoying the walk and talk. Hope you're hearing something interesting. Yeah, it is a coffee house, look. Gatehouse Coffee. But not open. Give it another month. And I believe we now carry on to Fishergate Bar. Yeah, I purely do this for the love of it, so but if you wish to leave a gratuity, then you can do, and the instructions are in the description of the walk. I reckon we're going to get about halfway around the walk today, and if there's interest, I'll be quite happy to do the second half, probably next week if there's any interest for that. So we're just coming to a turn in the wall here. See, it's stretching into the distance.
I will always remember that crossing.
Now, in the distance, guess what we can see? Yes, that's the Minster popping its head up. And back this way, there's the tower in the middle of the screen. Destruction Tower. And where we've just walked from. Always good to just turn around and take another view from where you've just come from, I find. It gives you a different perspective. Again, the walk continues with no rails, so it is just a short drop down there. And we'll come up to Fishergate Bar. Now this bar, when we come to it, was so badly damaged in an attack in 1489 that it was left bricked up for 340 years. Some stones in the archway are pink from when the bar was torched in the attack. And those attacks were against the rule of Henry VIII. The attack that destroyed the bar started as a protest against a new tax he was imposing. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Things don't change much, do they? The corporation decided to save money on repairs and on paying someone to man the bar by simply bricking up the gateway. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. It's just a bit further down here, and it's warming up quite nicely now. And we're just back onto people's houses here, look. How nice for them. But I don't know how nice it is to have a wall outside the back. I don't know. At least they feel protected. Just come past. Thank you. And over on the left we have the Barbican itself, the theatre, which is of course closed at the moment. And just think, that was the only bar back there with a Barbican, which is, I assume, why we have the Barbican Theatre here, just down the road from it. Interesting. So now this is where we just come down off the wall at Fishergate. And here it is, Fishergate Postern, this is called. And just down here, this was the one that was bricked up to save money on not having anyone manning it to collect any fees, so they just bricked it up. Now here is the Pink. So this is where I believe the Pink was caused by fires placed at the gate during Henry VIII's reign. Interesting. And then I'll just take you to see it from the outside. So I can't tell you what the plaque actually says. It's about 300 knights men. And back past Pinkness of where the fire was. So we carry on now for I think the last stretch of the wall for today. There's I think we've gone past the hour. I did have those few little difficulties at the start. So we head back up to the fosse here, and we come off the wall and then walk up to Clifford's Tower, which is currently again undergoing restoration, and that'll be about half of the walk completed. I do hope you've enjoyed it. Now we have a bit of a view from here across. You can just see the top. I mean, it's not great because it is being properly restored at the moment. We come to another right angle in the wall, but you can see in the distance Clifford's Tower. Which is just there, but you can see lots of restoration going on. And you can see some of the walls of the castle in front, which is nice here. But then they've gone and built a nice travel lodge in front of it for us. Unfortunately. So yeah, if you want to stay with me just to the end of the wall, that would be great. I'll go now while I've got an opportunity. So the wall's just heading down here. So that's part of the original castle there in front. And we just come off the wall here. Have another. This is an end of the wall with a tower. Well, that's plenty of steps I've been up and down today. I'm sure I've got my 10,000 steps in. So this is Fishergate Tower. Built around 1505 on the site of an earlier structure called Tolkien Tower, named after Robert de Tolkien, Mayor of York, in 1399. So there's a narrow gap here for a portcullis. I don't know if it was here. If it's still here, I can't see anything. First floor level, apparently there's a guard road. Here. And I'll just go over the road and then give you a view. There, look, there's a guard road, and guess what that is? That's a medieval toilet. As you can see, it just sticks out and goes straight down onto the floor. What a nice way to finish the walk, eh? So I do hope you've enjoyed that today. It's about an hour's walk that we've done. Ending here. And if you'd like to do the second part of the walk with me, that would be great. For joining me today. I do hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. I always enjoy looking at these sorts of things, and if you'd like to join me again, that would be wonderful. If you do want to give a gratuity, that's up to you. Just follow the instructions. It's PayPal on my description of this walk. If you'd like to come back for the second part of the walk, let me know, and then I'll try and schedule it for next week. Just message me, and if you're particularly keen, I'll try and schedule it for when you're available. So from York and the city walls, and for me, David Pearson, thank you very much for joining me. Sorry about the technical difficulties at the start. This is my second walk I've done. The previous one was at Whitby. I'm doing another one in Whitby, I think in June. That's it. Thank you. Bye for now, everybody. Keep safe. Let's get out of these lockdowns.